reaching into the past here, Brian.
Yeah, we often do.
As a time travel podcast.
The past of this show.
We can do, exactly.
And somehow, yes, the past, but still something we bring up on an almost weekly basis.
Yep, I guess that's fair. But it is a callback. We're going to a comic book, and one that I would love to be reading if Diamond Distributors could get their act together.
Yeah. Well, Dynamite just needs to figure out what to do in lieu of Diamond's bankruptcy, but that's getting into the weeds on comic distribution. The point is, Dynamite Comics publishes a Space Ghost comic.
Space Ghost!
and it's in its second year now. They just relaunched the book with a new number 1. This is the 3rd issue. Came out last week, but again, due to shipping challenges, I just got my copy this week.
And anybody out there that remembers our April Fool's episode...
Oh, no. The fuck?
Space Ghost has had quite an impact on our show and our time travel rankings.
Sure. That episode that we talked about way back in April was called The Time Machine, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just time. Yeah, the Time Machine.
And it involved young Jace building a DIY kit for a time regressor.
That's your theory.
The time regressor will work when I get the bugs out. Now, let's see.
A large appliance that can be used to travel through time. And when the characters do travel through time, they find themselves face-to-face in the past with a character, a Viking, named Tarko the Terrible, even though that name is a little bit subject to some question, I think, given the pronunciation on the show.
He too will be the slave of Tarko.
Well, I was delighted to find out that in this latest issue of Space Ghost, issue 3, Tarko the Terrible is back.
That is fucking amazing.
The primary villain in this issue of Space Ghost, and I gotta say, he's scarier in this comic book.
When you shared this with me over chat or whatever, I can't sufficiently describe how fucking amazed I was by this. The idea that, this is a throwaway episode from 1966. Nothing amazing about that episode.
No.
For us.
None of your typical villains show up. You
right.
know,
it's just
Tarko.
a one-off.
He's a Viking in the past.
Yeah, and I just couldn't fathom the idea that of all the references this comic book was going to make, Tarko the Terrible? Really?
Tarko the Terrible.
Oh, man, I couldn't believe
really
it.
Does.
That's
he
great.
really does earn the name. So the issue opens 10,000 years in the past with Tarko preparing to square off against someone named the Time Master, who is unseen.
Okay.
But the resulting battle leaves Tarko frozen in ice, and Space Ghost and Jan and Jason Blip run across him and take him to a scientist who also happens to be the grandfather of Jan and Jace. That's kind of the ongoing thread in this current run of the books, is that their grandfather wants custody. But Space Ghost is like, they're my wards, you know?
Oh, man, really?
But he also doesn't know that Space Ghost's adventuring sidekicks are, in fact, his grandkids. Right? Because they got masks on, you see. They've got domino masks on.
This is feeling a lot sillier than I thought the book initially was.
It's not silly. Yeah, it's not silly. I'm probably describing it wrong. But anyway.
You sound like you're doing stuff. But anyway, so I'm going to ask before you get this book open, is the time regressor in this comic book?
Sadly, no. There is no time regressor in this issue. I'm very disappointed, too. The resolution of this story is much cooler than what we got in that episode, though, I gotta admit. Tarko is thawed out in Space Ghost's present day.
On Ghost Planet?
No, they take him to the place where their grandfather works, this big laboratory. So he starts laying siege to this whole city. Like, he's breaking down walls, just crushing shit left and right. He finds a fucking armory at one point.
Like Simon Phoenix?
Yeah, like that. Like, see, he finds this armory and he's just like guns and guns and guns, right? So, like the next page is him just wailing on these dudes.
Yeah, he's fucking huge.
With fucking machine guns. Space Ghost and company barely take him down.
I was gonna say, it really is like Simon Phoenix.
Wait a minute. This is the future. We're all the phaser guns.
He is. Yeah. He really is. He thinks that the scientist, the grandfather, is working for the Time Master, so he wants to kill him. He's trying to kill Space Ghost.
Who is the Time Master?
We don't know. It's the Time Master is the person who froze him.
Oh, right.
So we never see the Time Master in this issue. But he completely jacks up Space Ghost's bands. Like, his power bands are unusable.
Oh, no.
Because Tarko just destroys them. What ultimately happens is they trick Tarko into coming into a room where they can lower the temperature to freezing. And then Space Ghost, and again, it sounds fucking sillier than it is, Space Ghost just hoses him down.
What?
Yeah, you see, just just sprays him with water.
Just water and ice?
Just water. Freezes him again in a block of ice. Like, well, that was a fucking mistake, right? We got to freeze this guy. But Jan and Jace come up with a really great solution for him, and that's to send him to a planet in the Outer Rim that is uninhabited by humans, but is filled with prehistoric beasts. And it ends, they've given Tarko a brand new planet to take over and conquer.
Like Khan?
I shall leave you as you left me, marooned for all eternity in the center of a dead planet.
Kind of like Khan, yeah. I would expect.
I hope SETI Alpha 5 doesn't explode.
This is SETI Alpha 6.
This is SETI Alpha 5.
So, all in all, great issue of this great comic book series that brought back our old friend Taco the Terrible.
I can't. So.
No stone left unturned.
Freeze him back in ice?
Yeah. With a hose, Nate.
With a water hose.
10,000 years after Tarko was originally frozen, all it takes is a really low temperature freezer and a hose.
Man, that
knock him back out.
Now I haven't read it, but that's
I'll tell you, it
awfully
works.
That's disappointing.
What you're missing here is all the fighting between him and Space Ghost. Like all the battling they have. It's like once Space Ghost gets that hose, we're just like, yeah, son, fucking spray him. We're done with this guy, man.
Is this episode basically just one big brawl?
There's a lot of fighting.
Yeah. So is it a one and done, or is Tarko coming back?
Most of David Pipo's run is standalone issues.
Okay.
With a single underlying thread that kind of runs through all of them.
Okay. And who's the artist on the book?
The artist on this book, and he's been the artist on the whole series so far, is Jonathan Lau. I don't know what else he's done, honestly, but I have really, really enjoyed his artwork on this book.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been very consistent, and like every issue has looked great. And again, he's done every issue of the book for the last year and a half. There haven't been any fill-ins or anything.
Well, what I've seen of it, I think, is pretty sharp. And we talked a little bit about it, but I just like this idea of taking this character from past, like this 1960s Hanna-Barbera goofy superhero character, and like trying to do something serious with it. I feel like we came right up to the edge of there was an age of gritty reboots.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe we're away from those long enough that this is kind of cool.
This is more like the throwback.
Gritty.
It's a little gritty, but it's not trying to be gritty at the expense of what made that character work to begin with. And like part of it is the spacefaring and the kookiness and the bizarre kind of undertone and stuff. Zorak is in these books.
Yeah.
But Zorak is portrayed as sort of a religious zealot. And Brack is in these books, and he's kind of Ferengi adjacent.
Oh.
They're taking a lot of familiar things and remixing them a little bit.
So Is that the only one you're reading, or are you reading like Thundar and the Herculoids?
I didn't read the Herculoids. There's a Blue Falcon and Dynamite series that just started. Not reading that one.
Oh, that could be fun, though.
I read the first arc of Johnny Quest. They published a Johnny Quest run that did explicitly involve time travel.
Oh.
And that was pretty good.
Okay. Well, I saw the last time I was in a comic book shop, I did see the Johnny Quest Space Ghost crossover.
Yeah.
But I didn't pick it up.
I haven't picked that one up either.
Well, I just want to start from the beginning, but I can't get my hands on it because of Diamond. So, I don't know, maybe it's available digitally or something.
Yeah, well worth hunting down and reading, for sure.
Yeah.
And now that we know our friend Tarko the Terrible has shown up, I gotta believe at some point we're gonna get a time regressor out.
You think so? I think if there were ever a time to bring in the time regressor, that would have been it, I feel like.
I don't know. I feel like an appropriate use for the time regressor in this particular series would be if Jan and Jace discovered that it existed and there was a potential to go back and save their own father.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I could see that being
Is that where they're going?
No, probably not. But like, if I'm judging by where this book has been so far and what the development has been like, I would be like, oh, that could be a story involving time travel.
Cool. I mean, we talked a lot about it, but is there a time travel episode of X-Files that is more of a traditional episode of X-Files?
Well, Monday is, yeah, for sure. That one I mentioned, the Vince Gilligan episode, that's like Groundhog Day.
What season was that one in?
That's later in season 6.
Oh, it's in the same season.
Yeah, and then there's one other episode.
You know, I'm glad we watched what we did, and of course it makes a lot of sense to watch one that had Chris Carter written and directed by, given it was his birthday. But yeah, it just dipping my toes into that made me feel like I want to see that banter, you know, that Scully and Mulder banter back and forth.
The classic stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Synchrony is the other one. That's a time travel episode.
I was going to say, what's the synopsis? Was it season 4, episode what?
19.
When several research scientists are found frozen to death, Mulder and Scully begin to suspect the murders may have been committed by a time traveler from the future. Now, do Mulder and Scully both seem to suspect that?
That's the question.
I feel more likely that Mulder thinks he's from the future.
Scully just thinks he's an old dude.
Yeah, that sounds more like it. I may have to look into that myself. Or maybe we'll do that maybe next year or something like that.
That'll probably be a fun one to do. It is on the list.
One of the things that we touched on a little bit in the episode was the taglines at the beginning, which of course opened with "The truth is out there," and ran that every episode for a good number of seasons, right? 2 or 3 seasons?
Yeah.
Do you know what the others were? Because they kind of telegraphed the larger narrative of the X-Files, right?
Sure.
Like, fight the future. What did they mean by fight the future? It was like...
That subtitle for the movie, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, and that was more like, what they tell us is coming is not necessarily inevitable, kind of. But Trust No One was the first alternate tagline they did.
Which was in that episode, they mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because Mulder gives away the identity of the scientist, Thor's hammer, to what turns out to be a German spy. Yeah. And they say, well, don't you know what you're doing? Trust no one. What did you think of the mythology of this series?
Well, it's interesting because when it was on, it's interesting. When it was on, that was like the thing that brought me back over and over again. Like I was deeply invested in it.
Early on.
Yeah, but now with the show behind us, I gravitate so much more to the Monster of the Week episodes.
Yeah.
And I see the value in them. And it's like, before, it wasn't that I devalued them. I just felt like that thing, that trigger in your head that's like, oh, well, this one's not as important, right?
Well, for sure, yeah. And I think that early, because they would spend the last few minutes of every episode talking a little bit about the mythology, you know, like the Smoking Man would have some kind of little epilogue to an episode, and it sold you on this is what the show is supposed to be, about this big story about aliens. Do they exist and what are they doing here? And the mythology episodes were the ones you always wanted to tune in for. They had the smoking man in them and stuff like that. But at some point along the lines, they have a mythology episode and you'll be like, wait, what's going on with it now? You know,
right.
Like a real wait, what kind of moment. Like, could you at all summarize what that was?
I could not, but
Because I mentioned in the episode, it ends 3 different ways, 3 different times.
yeah, your best option is to get a copy of the X-Files, the movie soundtrack. The one,
The soundtrack.
The soundtrack to the movie, which was the one with like bands on it, not like the score album.
Okay.
You get that one. There's a hidden track on that. And I believe, if I'm remembering it right, you have to...
Gotta play it backwards. No.
There's like a mysterious track. It's like you get to the end of the album and then it just starts going track, 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 track. And it's like track 36 or something like that. Like it just keeps going.
Uh-huh.
And then you let track 36 play, and at 10 minutes and 13 seconds, a voice comes in.
Ooh.
The method, as they call it, though it was more so a germline procedure of singular metascientific complexity, had been given to them by the alien colonists as a quid pro quo. The syndicate would help them to create a population of alien hybrids who would hide in plain sight.
Right? And it's Chris Carter, and he basically spends 6 or 7 minutes outlining what's going on.
What?
Yes. That's a thing that exists.
That's gotta be on YouTube somewhere.
It's got to be out there. But that again only takes you up through the movie, which is to me like about the time the mythology shit goes off the rails anyway.
Yeah, it really does.
To me, the mythology, the end of the mythology era for me was the Two Fathers, One Son two-parter, which I think was in season 6. That's the one that ends with the alien bounty hunter executing all of the members of that cabal.
Yeah.
That
The
smoking
manicured man.
all of those guys, right? He murders them all.
Right.
And that to me was kind of like,
I mean,
that's the end of this.
Yeah, exactly. Like I vaguely remember that, but when you try and string together exactly what the alien plot was, I remember there's a whole thing about black oil.
Oh, the black oil stuff was pretty good.
The syndicate had something to hide that not even the colonists knew of. A vaccine against the black oil. An inoculant against the substance in which the alien life force was held. In fact, the very medium of the life force itself.
Yeah, like, and it got in Krychek's eyes or something.
Yeah,
And it
you
would,
remember that one where he was like hacking it out over that alien spaceship?
And what? So the black oil would take over your body, right?
Yeah.
And the plot was that clones of children, like Mulder's sister, were harvesting bees that were then delivering the black oil via bee sting to people throughout the earth, right? Like as an invasion technique or something?
Well, okay, so I think part of what helps you understand
Is that a thing?
The black oil aliens and the shape-shifting bounty hunter aliens were at war with one another.
Right.
Right? So you can't just think of it as like this lateral move of aliens colonizing Earth. There were 2 factions of aliens attempting to do this, right?
Yeah.
So in addition to the fact that we're dealing with colonization, we're also sort of the battleground for these 2 warring factions.
Yeah, that's... Man.
And determining, okay, well, which one would we rather have here? You know, is kind of, I think, part of what.
And which one is the
Cabal
Cabal in league with?
The black oil, I think.
Okay. I just remember that the shape-shifting bounty hunter aliens could only be killed by that spike that went in the back of their neck.
In the back of their necks. Yeah.
And, like, Mulder's mom had one in her cabin or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And turns out Mulder's mom may have had an affair with the cigarette-smoking man that would make Mulder his son. And, man, it just got way too complicated when we talked a little bit about the Bermuda Triangle, the Loch Ness Monster, all of that stuff, the cryptids. When you were into that shit in junior high school, this was the show.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
That was what I thought they were telling. You felt like they were telling that story about all that cool stuff that you already know, and they've got kind of answers to this sort of thing. And like,
right, because your school library would have like a couple books, and usually they were always checked out. But if you got it and it was there, you'd be like, oh, fuck, this is the shit with the answers in it, you know? And it's like Chariots of the Gods or something, you know? And and you're reading it, and then the X-Files comes on TV, and you're like, oh, shit. I know about this.
I mean, that was what's so cool. And then as Chris Carter got to basically writing too much.
I don't know what happened to Chris Carter.
All I really wanted was the Greys. And maybe this is just me being boring, but I just wanted more of what I already liked. And what I already liked was Roswell. You know?
Yeah.
And if they're going to do an episode with Roswell, which I think they did, or people would reference it on the show, you know, like there'd be a conspiracy theorist and they'd go, Roswell!
Right, wasn't I think in the that episode, the Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man episode, one of the acts involved him and Deep Throat.
Yeah.
Determining which one of them was going to shoot the Gray in the head after the Roswell crash.
See, I just want to know about the Greys. I thought they were just going to build some mythology out from the stuff that we already kind of believed or didn't believe, or, you know, like the stuff that was already kind of interesting.
How would you explain it? A dozen people around the world who never met each other describe an encounter with a being from space, and their descriptions of the creature match almost exactly.
They had Greys. Remember we mentioned the baseball episode? There was a gray alien that like the... And, you know, we thought that's who we were dealing with, but it just got too crazy, and I just couldn't watch it anymore.
I stuck with it all the way through.
Like we talked about Lord Kimboat.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part in that episode where two Air Force pilots are dressed up as gray aliens.
Yeah, that one that's just sitting in the cage smoking.
Yeah, and the other one's like... in the fetal position going, this is not happening. Yeah. This is not happening, because he's like confronted with Lord Kimboat, who was an alien in the center of the earth or whatever.
The fucking stop motion.
Oh, man.
Ray Harryhausen stop motion looking thing.
Yeah, it's so weird.
So great.
But all this, like, what was the bees? You know, like what?
I'd have to go back and watch it. I don't remember. I mean, I know that there were bees.
Somebody
but I
has
don't remember.
There's got to be a YouTube video out there. Somebody has summarized this thing with graphs and, you know,
because you remember that the very opening of the X-Files movie is of that like Neanderthal guy in the ice. And he finds that body and he cuts it open, and then the black oil gets in him, right?
Yeah. So they've been there forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Man,
this stupid show.
Anyway, buy that X-Files CD, and then all the answers you have will be...
I'm going to go on YouTube and go find it. It's got to be
probably the easiest thing to do.
Yeah. Love to hate the X-Files.
Our work is done. I move we adjourn.
I thought I heard Miles, and I walked out there, and his bedroom door was open, the light in the hallway was on, and he was sitting at Jacqueline's work desk with like a bunch of felt pieces doing arts and crafts. And I was like, Miles, what you doing, buddy? He's like, I'm making Christmas. Like, you're making Christmas?
Was he sleepwalking?
He was putting glue on like these random like it was like Santa Claus felts, like a felt Santa you could construct.
Sure.
And he was just kind of putting the felts together and kind of getting the glue set up. And I was like, I don't need this kid sleepwalking with a glue stick.